I like my midsole cushioning to be comfy enough, but I really steer clear away from the ones that feel like the rocker geometry. I found that the point of no return, as it were, for this rocker geometry was just simply too far, given that we're at 100 miles. This for me is probably the biggest selling point of the Novablast 3. Welcome back to the Time Around channel. My name is Joel. Thanks so much for joining me for another longevity test. After my first review of the Novablast 3, I took my pair to the 100-mile mark or the 160-kilometer mark to test for you how the shoes perform for the long haul and to answer a few questions someone might ask when they're considering buying a pair. What does the outsole look like? Are there any new issues that have cropped up? And did the midsole bottom out or go flat since my first review? These are just a few of the questions I'll be addressing in this review, so stick around. Feel free to skip around using the chapters if you like. I put a lot of work in these videos, so let me know how the video is helpful by leaving a comment below. So before I start this review, I just need to go over a couple of disclosures first. I purchased these shoes online with my own money. These opinions and observations are my own, and no one gets to preview, edit, or provide feedback prior to me posting this video here. I'm not sponsored by Asics, and no one is paying me to review these shoes or make this video. Now today I'm going to be covering the longevity test, one of the most valued tests a consumer uses before purchasing a shoe. No matter how long you've been running, speaking from experience, this was a test especially important to me when I started buying shoes more regularly. And as I started building my own shoe rotation, I found it especially helpful in knowing I was getting a shoe that would last me a long time. I didn't have a rotation, so I relied heavily on the running community and reviewers that are in my position now to get me practical advice for the shoe that I wanted to purchase. So I'm taking the approach for how I liked shoe reviews back then and applying it to the ones that I'm doing like these. So without further ado, my review of the Asics Novablast 3. The big thing I noticed about this shoe over the miles is how little I reached for it during my training sessions. I wanted to use it for daily miles, but I would only really use it for recovery sessions. That's just how it worked out. I would never use it for speed sessions. I found the midsole cushioning just to be too soft and squishy. Regarding faster sessions, daily miles, and the like, I like my midsole cushioning to be comfy enough, but I really steer clear away from the ones that feel like marshmallows underfoot. So recovery was what I used this for the most. Another thing I wanted to cover with the midsole is the rocker geometry. I found that the point of no return, as it were, for this rocker geometry was just simply too far forward. It wasn't far enough back. I really wanted to be striking either directly on top or just slightly in front of the rocker, and it just didn't work for me. Between that and the squish, I really felt like the shoe kind of let me down in that way. I feel like I was working against the rocker as a result, like I was working harder than I do in other shoes. And I'm hoping this will be a change in version 4. And I've already purchased version 4, which I'm really excited about. Now I'm just waiting for them to ship. The complications with the rocker did get me thinking that maybe the shoe was too big. Although I bought these in my standard US men's size 12, I found multiple indications that this was simply too big for my feet. The puckering of the upper here, where the laces kind of meet. I really tried to cinch everything down and get a snug fit, but really just everything you can kind of tell right here, it just bunches up right in that area. The heel and back really didn't give me too many complications. There wasn't any slippage at all, but for as much as I ratcheted down these laces, it just seemed like there was kind of a significant gap back here. So that was kind of another problem that I saw. And kind of moving back toward the front of the shoe, frankly, there's just too much room in the toe box. It feels almost cavernous. Moving my foot forward in the shoe to a comfortable place of a more ideal spot, meaning the laces are resting comfortably against the front part of my foot. At that point, I got about a ½ inch gap between the collar and my Achilles, which is insane to think about. These seem to fit more like a 12.5 or a 12 wide. Honestly, about the shoe, I feel like the foam has stayed exactly the same. It's not dead over the miles. So if you're considering this shoe, I'd say that's a really nice selling point. I've left Amazon affiliate links in the description box below for ease of access to find the shoe I'm talking about in this video. please click on the link to find pricing through Amazon. There's no cost to use the link, but if you do make a purchase via the link, the seller sends me a small percentage of that sale as a courtesy of me helping bring you to their Amazon store. So please be sure to check out the links below. Minor creases around the midsole, you can kind of see them here, but that's just kind of a cosmetic thing that comes with running in shoes. The upper has stayed nice and stretchy. It hasn't kind of given out or anything like that, so that's nice. But in this instance, you almost wish it was a little bit more restrictive considering how much space is in the upper here, which is crazy to think about as a runner. Next, I'm going to talk about the laces. These laces are way too long. I can do 3 or 4 additional knots with these, like double knots. The Novablast version 1 laces were way too short. Version 1 dug into my front tendons, so I ended up swapping those out for a different pair of Nike laces. So who is this shoe made for? What are those benefits that this shoe brings to the table? I think it's best for heel strikers, honestly, who like a lot of cushioning in the back of the shoe. You've got a lot of stack back here working to your advantage. All right, let's get to the outsole. I love the AHA rubber Asics mix. This is probably the most durable rubber in the business. So many trainers don't have what it takes to endure long miles, in my opinion, and usually it always comes down to the outsole. These, I can honestly say, have the least amount of wear shown of a daily trainer I've run in, given that we're at 100 miles. This for me is probably the biggest selling point of the Novablast 3. Let me say that again. The outsole of this shoe is the biggest selling point. The durability and the miles you'll be able to get out of these shoes means that if you're someone who really cares about getting the biggest bang for your buck, these are probably the shoes you're most likely want to consider. If you're in the camp that get annoyed with outsoles that only last you 150, 200 miles, you'll definitely want to consider these, or really any Novablast shoe for that matter. Because the AHA rubber, they've all been really durable. I got over 600 miles out of version 1. Now I wanted to cover other reasons why I reached for this shoe other than it's a phenomenal recovery day shoe. The other reason is that these bring the light show version and they're really reflective in low light conditions. So between wanting a recovery run, if you want to just set these on cruise control and you only have time in the evening when it's already gotten dark, these are a great option to be visible at night during low light runs. Next item would be someone who's looking for a really squishy, marshmallowy ride. You're just looking for that kind of shoe that you can set it on cruise. And of course, a shoe that has the potential that lasts you a very long time, specifically referring to the durability of the outsole. And so where does this fit in the shoe rotation for runners? This for me strictly fits into the recovery or long run section of a rotation. I got some spicy comments on YouTube in my original review that this is a marathoner's shoe for sure, and I know that there are some people out there who have run in it. I'm not denying that that's something that people do. More power to you, but simply stating I personally have different preferences, and I believe that my needs and preferences align with probably the vast majority of people who are wanting to race marathons. I don't want a squishy marshmallowy shoe that doesn't give me a good rocker geometry, that doesn't help me propel forward. And so as a result, this shoe doesn't meet the criteria that I need for a half marathon or even a marathon. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of what I was getting at for that comment on YouTube. Why make it harder on yourself? Now, I will say the shoes that meet my needs and I would take out for daily runs and races, these shoes are going to be the PUMA DV8 Nitro 2, a shoe I reviewed over a year ago now. It's crazy how all that time flew. So November 2022, link to my left here. And then next I would have to say it's going to be the Adidas Adizero SL. I put a review up for this one just over a month ago. Link up here as well. Phenomenal shoe. I really love this. This is kind of what I wanted the Novablast 3 to be like, and this really delivers what I want. Same drop, about the same stack height as well. It's kind of crazy to put them side by side, but honestly, I would pick this one over this one for daily runs, speed sessions, so on and so forth. Check out the review over here. And then finally, the Hyperion Max by Brooks. Love this shoe. I put most of my daily runs and tempo sessions, speed sessions, so on and so forth for my marathon in these shoes. Of course, I did a lot of the other speed sessions in the Asics MediSpeed Sky. This is the shoe I did my marathon in, but this honestly was a really close contender with even the Asics MediSpeed Sky. Just the midsole cushioning here was really durable. The outsole is really durable as well. That's a really good benefit of this. But honestly, the nitro infused foam for the Hyperion Max just made this shoe my pick for the 2023 marathon training block. And that combined with the fact that the rocker geometry of the shoe is just set perfectly, just right where I needed it, right here in the midfoot. But it's just that rocker geometry really delivered. Enough cushioning, but not too marshmallowy. This is the DNA Flash midsole foam that Brooks puts out. Phenomenal. I personally think it's a better foam than the FF Blast Plus. My personal opinion, some people are going to disagree with it, but honestly, 2023 pick of the year for daily trainer, even a race day shoe. This is a phenomenal one. So I got a lot of PRs in this one just when I was training for my marathon training block. It's kind of great. So anyway, check the video for this one in the upper right corner. And what did I run my marathon in, you might ask? Well, I ran it in my very own Metaspeed Sky Plus, and I couldn't have been happier with that shoe for the marathon. I've yet to put out a review for this beast. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in me doing. But between the Deviate Nitro 2, the Adizero SL, and the Hyperion Max, these shoes I picked day after day over this shoe, unfortunately. I really wanted to reach for this shoe more and more, considering how much I love the Novablast version 1, but these other shoes just met me where I was at, helped me significantly more over the training block. I hope that helps, and all of the Amazon affiliate links can be found in the description box below. So check those links out if you have any interest in any of these shoes. This one is probably the least expensive of the shoe right now. It's pretty great. This is definitely what I wanted the Novablast 3 to be like. So being that we have version 4 coming out pretty soon, changes I hope to see in the future. Just as previously mentioned, you probably already guessed it, a slightly stiffer midsole. So that's one part of it. And then the next one is going to be having this sizing somewhere between version 1 and version 3. Version 1 is a little too snug, maybe a little too narrow. Version 3 is just way too spacious. There's not really a consistency I found with how Asics defines their sizing. Size 12 in one shoe could feel very different from another shoe. So getting this dialed in, it would be greatly appreciated. I considered buying the next version, version 4, and 11.5. That's how spacious these shoes were, but that seems entirely unnecessary. So hopefully they'll get that fit dialed in. So next I would say just give us a really good specific location for that rocker geometry. I just kind of wanted it set a little further back. It just seemed like it was set a little too further forward. I didn't really like it up there. It seemed like I had to do a lot more work than I should have had to do to run these guys. Main takeaways and final thoughts. Now I look forward to the release of the next iteration of the shoe, the Novablast version 4. I got mine in that bright lime green. I'm really excited about that. Mine's supposed to ship tomorrow morning as of when I'm recording this. So maybe by the time I release the video, I'll already have it. That'd be awesome. It just snowed a bunch today, so that's going to probably throw a little wrench in the plans. These aren't necessarily the grippiest shoes on the outsole for rain and snow. Rain's not really a problem at my weight. You lightweights might have a little bit more problem when you're running around in these shoes, but as far as my weight, I'm about 200 pounds, maybe a little bit under 200 pounds, and yeah, the snow is going to probably cause a little bit of a problem, and it'll definitely make the shoes dirty. These got pretty dirty in the snow, but anyway, that concludes my review of the Asics Novablast 3. I hope you found this video helpful. Please remember, if you plan on making a purchase, please use one of my affiliate links in the description box below. It looks like the prices are just going down for this shoe as well. Check out my previous video of the Novablast 3 by clicking the link over here. If you found this video helpful, please like the video and also please consider subscribing. It means a lot to me when I see people are liking and subscribing. If you could go above and beyond and share this video with someone, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. Thanks so much for watching, and if anyone asks you what your favorite running YouTube channel is, just tell them it's time to run.